I would dare say most people that are having issues in relationships and dating are not dating pro-social people. You're dating people who have antisocial tendencies, either man or woman. They're deceiving, they're manipulating, they're not who they say that they are. They're irresponsible, not dependable. They don't take care of shared spaces, take care of your things or take care of theirs, or they're greedy or aggressive. So I would imagine that the issues you're having in dating and relationships are probably because you're experiencing more of that kind of behavior and not because someone is too grateful or too forgiving or too responsible or too cooperative.
Hey y'all, welcome to Boundaries and Grace.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Boundaries and Grace. I'm Taylor Chandler, licensed marriage and family therapist, helping people break negative relationship patterns. Today we're talking about the difference between pro-social and antisocial culture and values. Let's get into it. My mission, y'all, in case you haven't figured it out, okay, my mission is to develop individuals, healthy individuals, to develop healthy relationships and healthy families. Okay, that's what we're doing in community in ascending order. So the individual got to get right for the relationship to be right, for the family to be right, for the community to be right. It makes sense, right? So in ascending order, I help develop healthy individuals that get into healthy relationships and create healthy families that can nurture healthy communities. Okay, that's what we're doing here. And we're gonna do this. We're gonna equip people. We gotta equip people and empower people. But we're not in the equip stage yet. Okay, we're in phase one. We got to create awareness around what's even going on. Make some really clear distinctions about who can go forward with this and who cannot, because everyone just can't go. Today, we're gonna make a distinction between pro-social and antisocial people. Again, we're in phase one, y'all. Who can progress forward and who's got to be left behind. I had some people refer to Harriet Tubman on my reels recently, y'all. And you know what? Harriet Tubman, I don't know if y'all know this. Thank you. I don't know if y'all know this, but when Harriet Tubman was freeing the slaves, right? Getting the slaves up out of there. She carried that thing on her. And when people messed up the mission, you know what she did? She got them. I believe Harriet Tubman knew that if you are with us, but you're confused or you're with us and you kind of dragging us back, you with us and you're doubting us, you're with us and you're not really 2 feet in, you're a liability to the mission. Okay. And we can't have liabilities. I'm not gonna but I am gonna remove you. You can't come on the train. We're getting you off the plane. Anything we're moving forward on, we're actually got to kick you out of there, because if you're not going forward with us, you're a liability. And creating these distinctions helps us to see who's a liability and who's not. Phase two, y'all, we're not there yet. Phase two, we're gonna roll out the building blocks someone needs for individual and relational development. Okay, like I said, we got to equip people, we got to empower people, and we'll get to the equipment, but first we're in awareness. Okay, phase one. Does that make sense, y'all? You know, I used to want to be an architect. Like I actually never wanted to be a therapist. It's a long story, but I wanted to be an architect for so long. I think I just have it in me to build stuff, right? I love the idea of being an architect. But then I went to business school instead because I thought it was more, I thought I would have more flexibility with business, which is true. But because I wanted to be an architect, that's why I really focused on Virginia Tech, which is where I went. I went to Virginia Tech, but I went to school for business, not for architecture. But now, you know, I realize that there's a part of me that is that has always been and is an architect, and I build people, and I build relationships, and I build systems that help people to be better people. That's what I do. I build the stuff. Just like a construction company is going to build the house. We have to know what the foundation is. We have to know what the blueprint is. You don't just sometimes people just want to get out there and start hammering away at stuff. It's like, hold on. What are you even doing? What are you even building? What's the vision of this thing? Do you know what you're building first? Okay. And then when you know what you're building and you get that drawn out, then you can buy materials. Are y'all following this? Then you can get the materials and then you can build the house. because we know what we need and we know what we're building. So we got to know what we're building, and then we can get the equipment, and then you can build it with some structure and some order. Okay? Not just hammering away at stuff. We all know we got a problem out there, but do you know what you got to build instead? So anyway, let's keep going. We're going to make a distinction between pro-social and antisocial people. If you're aligned with the messages that I've been putting out about men and women, okay, about men and women, if you're aligned with this need for higher character, if you're aligned with the belief, the philosophy that you as an individual are responsible for your outcomes, you're probably pro-social. Thank you. You're probably pro-social. Okay. If you listen to my episode called Last Call for Women, Part 1, Body and Attitude, I talked about attitude. And there's also, if you go into my YouTube, go into mid-length videos, that's where the bigger episodes are split up into smaller segments. There's a mid-length video called Women with Attitude Problems. And that's getting at this idea. I've been getting at this idea for years, but now we're just getting really a lot more clear on how to present this to y'all and string it all together. But attitude is such a big component of being pro-social. I'm gonna lay out what pro-social values are, just directly related to a positive attitude. So that was in Last Call for Women, Part 1. I recommend you listen to that one. That was a good one. It was funny. If you're against low-level character, if you're against low-level vibrations, if you're against the ratchetry, you're probably pro-social. If a person's making excuses for him or herself and other people, if you or someone you know is making excuses for him or herself and other people at large, defending and justifying bad behavior, the ratchetry, defending and justifying it, deflecting away from the negative impact of low character people. If you are the doer of the bad behavior, you're probably more antisocial. And listen, y'all, we as Black people, because of the situation that we're in, it's like we all got kind of grouped together, right? It's like all the Black people supposed to be together. I never really felt comfortable. Because I'm like, I don't see it. I don't think it's all the same. I don't think we all kind of doing the same thing. I don't think we all kind of have the same goals. I've always kind of been like, that's not really, I've been very, very hesitant to be on a Black power. I've never, honestly, y'all, let me be honest with you. I've never been a Black power person, not because I don't think Black people should have power, but because I'm like, wait a second, all Black people shouldn't be empowered to do all things. Not all white people should be empowered to do all things. I think people that have the right ideas, people that have right thinking, right character, right morals, I think those people should be empowered. Okay? I don't think all of us don't need to be. Okay, I started too early. I'm not even really in the notes yet. I just want to be honest. I'm not for all Black people. I'm not. Honestly, I want all Black people to get it together. That is true. Okay. But if you can't, or if you won't, I'm really not sticking around for y'all. Now, someone else, their calling is to stick with you. Their calling, their mission, their purpose is to stand beside you. That's my man, I'm standing beside him. That's my woman, I'm standing beside her. Those are my people, I'm standing beside them. Thank goodness for them, because it's not me. We need them, though. And if that's you, I respect your mission, your calling, your purpose. I don't mean to be offensive to anybody at all. That's just not what I'm here to do. I'm more like Harriet Tubman. I'm more like, I'm going in this direction, and if you're going in that direction, that's not my calling. Okay? And you're a liability to me. You're a liability. You know, we might share the same skin tone. We're not all the same people, though. It's not all the same people. Okay? If that's offensive, we're not in a place where we can be offended at this point. We just need to get clear, get honest, and go forward. We can't be stopping worried about everybody that's like, that hurt. Oh well. Damn it. We are not in a position to be worried about everything hurting your feelings. Okay. Now, we are going to talk about empathy today. It's very important. We are going to talk about empathy. It's very important. We're going to talk about systemic issues today. That's very important. So it's not that I'm unaware or unwilling to be empathetic and compassionate. I'm highly empathetic and highly compassionate, all of these things. And in order to progress, that can't be all that we focus on. If you're against low-level character, low-level vibration, the ratchetry, you're probably pro-social. If you are defending or justifying bad behavior, if you are the doer of bad behavior, if you refuse to even admit that there is good and bad behavior, if you're like, it depends, you know what? You're not very helpful. You're not very helpful. You're not like, it's not like you like a super problem, but you're not as bad as the people who just outright do bad things, but you're not very helpful because you're not willing to draw a line. You're not willing to say, no, we don't do this. No, this is not okay. If you're unwilling to draw the line, you're not very helpful. Not to me. Okay. If you're the doer of bad behavior, if you justify bad behavior, if you defend bad behavior, you're probably more antisocial. This is the type of behavior that leaves a bad taste in your mouth, makes your face kind of screw up like, ugh. Like, ugh. I wish she didn't do that. And if you feel that way, right? And if you have that kind of reaction, I think good. It shows that you're not desensitized, right? Like, I don't want to get to a place where I'm like, twerking a mother twerking in front of her son in the woman's bathroom. It doesn't make me feel kind of disgusted. I don't want to be desensitized to that. I find that strange. I find it problematic. Okay, so if you're having those reactions, good. And don't let people tell you all this, nobody can judge me. Yes, the hell we can. We got a whole justice system to judge. We got all kinds of systems to judge. You have a system in your brain to judge good and bad. If you see an alleyway, let's see, we got a sidewalk with with cherry blossoms blooming on both sides of the street. It's a big, wide sidewalk. It's bright. Okay, sun is shining, the butterflies are flying. And you got an alleyway on the other side. There is smoke coming out. You see a bat signal come up because someone needs help there. Okay, you see rats. Something in your brain tells you one better than the other. Let's stop acting like we don't judge every single day, dummy. Every time you go to the produce aisle, and first, some of y'all need to be more in the produce aisle. You've been actually out the produce aisle for way too long. I invite you back. Let's go back to the produce aisle, and you're trying to pick up some apples. You probably need to eat some apples. You pick up 2 apples. One has bruises all over it, and one is solid and firm. You're making a judgment on what's good for you and what's not. You got to be mentally ill. Seriously, I'm not playing. I'm not being hyperbolic. You got to be mentally ill to choose something that is obviously worse for you. You have a problem, ma'am. You have a problem, sir. And for those of you that's like, well, it depends. I mean, what if the bruised apple needs love too? Please, you're not helpful. We want you to get out of here. We need people who are reasonable people. And if you like, well, the alleyway with the rats, I mean, there could be, don't judge a book by its cover. The treasure could be at the end of the, stop. We're so tired. I'll speak for myself. I don't even need backup on this. I'm so tired of y'all. I am tired of y'all acting like we can't make simple judgments on right, wrong, good, bad. Cut that out. Let's keep going, y'all. Listen, the antisocial people and the people that I just described, they won't listen to these full episodes. They won't even listen to it. And if they do listen to some of it, they feel shamed. They feel judged. They feel like it's not fair. Nothing's ever fair. But you know what? They will react to the reels. Though when I start snipping this up, they're going to react to that, but they won't listen to full episodes because they start turning their ears off when they start feeling like, damn, she got a point. So reasonable people That we the only ones that really listen to full hour-long episodes of some helpful stuff. The antisocial people, we just see them on the reels. They're there just for engagement. They're just there. I leave them. They're there for engagement. I like to keep a little controversy up there. Keep a little silly. Keep the silly people up there because I like to paint the picture, right? Like, let's see those of y'all that think a certain way, that act a certain way, that defend this stuff. Y'all there just for engagement. We're moving forward. We don't care what you think. I don't care what you think. I don't care what those people think because they're not going in the same direction as me. Why would I take some advice from somebody that don't want the same thing as me? That don't have the same values as me. You got nothing to add to me. You're distracting to me. You're a liability to me. You're there for engagement. You're jesters to me. Okay? I don't actually take it seriously because I know the direction that we're going. Sometimes I respond back for kicks. But you can't knock me off track. Come on. I'm so clear on the direction that individuals need to go, relationships need to go. I've been doing this. Now I'm just going to do it with more people. Okay. I've been doing this. I did it with myself. I did it with myself first. Then I do it in relationship. And I do it with clients and I do it in groups. And now I'm just doing it with more people. So I'm not confused at all about what makes people progress and what helps people develop in this lane. I'm not saying I know everything, but in this zone, this is my zone. Okay. So people come in with all kinds of weird, different opinions. Fine. I respect you have a different opinion, but ain't no way you can present an argument that's going to make me go a different direction. Okay. Let's keep going, y'all. Today, we're going to get more clear on the distinctions between pro-social and antisocial people, how antisocial culture is grown and nurtured. Y'all, we got to talk about poverty. We're going to talk about incarceration. We're going to talk about fatherless homes and the impact. I have some statistics I need to share with you, and we're going to talk about what we should do about it. And by the way, now we're going to get into the content, y'all. Y'all are already so active in the chat. I love it. I'm very call and response. Sometimes I say something, I want you to drop it in the comments. I love it. I love when you're engaged. I love seeing the hearts and the fires and the 100s pop up. Like, that really does a lot for me. The more that I get from that, like the more I give you, I really love that. And shout out to y'all for being so engaged with the content lately. I mean, it's really incredible. Especially shout out to the men. It's men who are sharing the content the most. No competition between the men and the men are sharing the content the most. The men really care about what's going on here the most. The men are commenting the most, engaging, liking the most. The men are sharing the most. It's going to take men, y'all. It's going to take men to get Black people up out the rut that they're in. It's going to take men to do it. And I didn't want to say this yet, but we're going to do, this is what I imagine happening by the end of the year. We need to do a retreat, Austin and I, need to do a retreat for men only. Women need to come after that. We need to do a retreat for men only to get men back re-engaged, to get men back refreshed, to get men back equipped and empowered to carry this thing forward, okay? Thank you. It's the men who are really leading this though, and the women will come after that. The women will get their stuff together when they see the men getting their stuff together. Because how many times do we hear, you see women doubting that men care, we see women doubting that men are doing the work, and we really honestly the men aren't presenting a really like united front. A lot of men are thinking the same thing, but really don't have a way to get everybody together, or as many people as we can together in a systematic, orderly way, and equipped with an order of how to do things, first to lead yourself and then to lead relationship and then to positively impact your family. That's what we're doing. We're creating an order and a system for this, and we need men. The men are going to come first. It's going to be the men that do this first. Okay. And the women are you're going to see it reflected. When men become more empowered, when Black men in particular become more empowered to take the leadership position and equipped to lead, right? Because sometimes when you take a leadership position, but you are not equipped to lead, you're actually a problem. You leading us to hell. Damn it. Okay. You're not equipped. And that's one of the differences that me and Austin really bring to this, because we actually can equip. We don't just talk about it. He's doing it in his work. He has been. I was doing it in my work before with women and men before we actually were in a relationship. And now we're bringing it all together. So we're going to equip. Okay. So people, we want to be empowered, but you're not equipped to have the position. That's a problem. Does that make sense? That's a problem. You want to be empowered, but you're not equipped. When you give people power, but they don't have they don't know how to wield it, you're a problem, sir. Okay. Okay. So anyway, I got so much to say about that, but we really need men on board. So shout out to men for sharing this stuff, for engaging with it. It's incredibly positive. Oh my gosh, incredibly positive. I thought this was going to be a much bumpier transition, like much bumpier ride to get this, to really start laying this out. I thought it was going to be a much bumpier ride. It is a lot less of a problem than I thought it was, because men are in the comments and men are validating and affirming the work, and men are sharing it, and men are in the DMs with really positive words of encouragement, and it's men. Okay, so shout out to y'all for making this a lot less of a bumpy ride than it could have been. Okay. Let's make some distinctions here. Let's get more clear on what are pro-social and antisocial values. Let's start with the bad news first. We're going to start with antisocial. Antisocial. Can somebody put antisocial in the chat? Can somebody drop antisocial in the chat? Antisocial doesn't mean you don't like people. Antisocial doesn't mean introverted. Thank you. Antisocial doesn't mean introverted. Okay, just like changing your mood doesn't mean bipolar. Okay, so we misuse the word antisocial. That's to be expected. People start saying stuff, but antisocial values go against harmony. Thank you. Antisocial values go against harmony. It creates dissonance, not resonance. Let me show you something. I remember doing this a couple years ago on a podcast. I think it was called The Disease to Please. I want to show y'all something. I got a keyboard here. I want to show you something. Antisocial values create dissonance. The opposite of dissonance is resonance. Okay? Resonance, resonate. That resonated with me. There's something that you said that resonated with me. Something about the vibration that you're in resonates with me. It's like when you hit that key, it hits that string in me and it starts to vibrate. It resonates with me. When there's dissonance, there's disconnection. That's the opposite of resonance. It's a disconnect. It does not resonate with me. It creates dissonance within me. What you said actually it glitches in me. It doesn't land well with me. So I want to play y'all a resonant chord. Okay, I'm gonna play y'all a chord here. Can you hear that? This is the most basic chord. Yeah. Yeah. You feeling okay? You feel that feels good, huh? Yeah. Coco likes it. It's a resonant chord. Let me play you something else. How's that sound? That's a dissonant chord. These are notes that aren't supposed to go together, okay? Resonance, we go together, right? The other one, not as smooth or soothing. It sounds kind of irritating, okay? If someone keeps playing that damn chord, I might go crazy because it doesn't go together. Resonant chords go together. When they come together, it creates a soothing experience. And people with antisocial values, when they get into your space, if they try to mix in with pro-social value people, it creates a dissonant situation. We become more disconnected. It's irritating. You hear that? You're not supposed to be here. So, dissonance and resonance. Antisocial values create dissonance. They harm people, individuals, relationships, and communities. They harm individuals, relationships, and communities. It promotes selfishness, dishonesty, and a lack of concern for others. People who follow antisocial values engage in actions that disrupt relationships, create conflict, and disregard others' well being. Let's talk about some of the values that we find in it's not that antisocial people lack values. Everybody values something, no matter how ratchet you are. Everybody values something. That's why I want us to get more clear on the language that we're using. We're not talking about someone that doesn't have values, but we're talking about they value some things that are very different than people who have pro-social values. Antisocial values include selfishness, prioritizing your own needs at the expense of others, dishonesty, lying, cheating, deceiving, disrespect, ignoring or devaluing opinions, rights, or feelings of others, greed, wanting more than necessary. You didn't need that. Wants more than necessary without considering what others may want or need. That's a key, because it's okay to what you want a little bit more than you need, fine. But you also didn't consider anybody else. Wanting more than necessary, and you didn't think about what other people wanted or needed. You greedy. Okay? Look, I got people who, you're in the comments or my clients and stuff. It's like, this person is so selfish. This person has been lying. This person's so disrespectful. You describe an antisocial person. And that's why I want to lay this out, because instead of just talking about like, I'm irritated by this little thing and this little thing and this little thing, you can see like, you just antisocial. I can see it by the way that you move, because we behave in ways that are aligned with our values. So I'm not even going to keep pointing out all the little ingredients that make you up. I can just see, I can put one thing on you, antisocial. Antisocial, you're aggressive, can be aggressive. Aggressive, including violence, threats, or intimidation to control or harm people. Aggression is not always physical, although it includes physicality. It's not always physical. It's also in the way that you talking to people. Some people are just you're an aggressive communicator. And I'm talking about men and women, because what we need to understand, y'all, is that this is not all one gender. Or all and not all one gender, and not all, anyway, y'all know what I'm saying. It's not a gender issue. We're talking about a type of person. So some of y'all are like, I'm not aggressive because you're not out here strangling people, but you aggressive in the way that you communicate. Rude as hell. You're rude. You talk over people. You interrupt people. You call people names. You're verbally aggressive. All right. Another aspect of antisocial: prejudice and discrimination. Prejudice and discrimination, treating people unfairly based on race, gender, religion, for example. Okay. Treating people unfairly based on race, gender, or religion. Now, here's one of my issues, y'all, and I want to be really clear. Just because you're Black doesn't mean you can't be prejudiced. Because I'm in the relational zone, what I see the most is men and women who are prejudiced, who have prejudices based on gender. Hear me. This is very important. We need to slow down on this one. Okay. Some people have some prejudices against the other gender. And you don't prejudice against Black people, you Black yourself. But some of y'all are actually developing a prejudice against Black people. You like, I can't even do it. And now, if that's the... It's not funny, it's sad. Some of y'all so worn out. But let me just focus on the gender part real quick, okay? Prejudice and discrimination, treating people unfairly based on race, gender, and religion. I just want to highlight the gender part real quick, okay? I touched on this in the last episode called The Danger of Radical Relationship Ideologies, season 12, episode 8. In this mission, y'all, there's no place for misandry or misogyny. Neither one. We're gonna do a whole video next season or something about misandry and misogyny, because we need to get really clear on that. There's no place for misandry or misogyny. All right, misogyny, prejudice, contempt against women, misandry, same thing on the reverse. If you got an issue, first of all, if you got an issue with the whole gender, trust me, it's not just them, it's you. If you got a whole issue with a whole gender, a whole body of people, it's not just what they're doing. You also have some internal issues, sir or ma'am. All right, because that's really quite a statement. There's no room for that here, y'all. Prejudice or contempt against men or women. So notice this, you'll see this in the comments on my page. You'll see it in your own thoughts and language. Your own thoughts and language. Listen, I get why people are frustrated. Very frustrated. Okay, I really understand. It's a lot of things to be frustrated about. It really is. It's not funny. I don't know why sometimes I start smiling and I shouldn't. I used to get in trouble for that a lot at school. Now I'm finally getting appreciated for laughing at serious topics. But anyway, I understand why people are frustrated. But because my goal, my mission is to help individuals that also want relationship, okay? I don't just stop at the individual, we go into relationship. And so if you have it, if you're steady holding on to your contempt against men as a woman, or your contempt against women as a man, and you are not willing to work on that, I understand why that it could be there. I understand how it grows into really big resentments, anger, frustration. I get it. But if you're not willing to work on that, you actually don't belong here. You don't belong here. Okay? Because we need people who are open and willing to actually come together. And we understand that there are issues on both sides, and people have experiences in the past, starting with their mother and father, especially, and then in their relationships, and a whole bunch of stuff has happened. A whole lot of stuff has happened. So, but we need to be able to work through that and not hold on to it. Because if you're holding on to it, you're actually a drag on the mission. Like, you're actually a liability. And we got to Harriet Tubman you. You can't be here, okay? So I just have to say that we're going to be talking more about that, misandry and misogyny, signs of that. It's not always these big brazen explosions or outbursts or something like that, or behaviors, but it can be in your attitude. Being prejudiced is an attitude first towards somebody. Okay? We can't have all of that against men and against women. So notice it in the comments, notice it in your own thoughts and language. These are bad seeds that need to be rooted out. When we're rolling out like online community or in-person events, this stuff really will not be tolerated. All right? This stuff will really not be tolerated. And you're going to be essentially quarantined to Instagram and YouTube. And that's the only way you're going to be able to interact, because if that's you, we can't have you being a toxic person in the group. We can't have that. When we're matching people up, men and women who want to be in a relationship, we're matching people up, and you actually got issues, you got prejudice, you got problems against women. You're sabotaging the relationship because you got all these negative ideas against women, or when you're a woman, you got all these negative ideas against men, negative beliefs about men, and you sabotaging dating and relationships because you got a problem. Okay, we're gonna exile you, and you can only stay on Instagram and YouTube. You cannot be a part of the actual work with us because you are a toxin. All right, all those little silly internet games y'all want to play. When we move into phase 2 and 3, that don't work in real life. It doesn't work here. Okay, you're gonna be exiled. You gotta stay on Instagram. Antisocial is not all women. Because you're going to be hearing it. Some of this is, as we keep going through this, you're going to be even hearing some of y'all are really going to be hearing some prejudices in your own mind. You're going to be like, oh, antisocial, that's women. Men don't do that. How many times do I hear that on Instagram every day? Men don't do that. Because you're so, you have black and whited this. You've made this a black and white issue. All men are good and all women are bad, or vice versa. All women are good and all men are bad. And you're really, That's a fallacy in thinking. It's a thought fallacy. It's a way that helps to keep you feel safe and helps you to feel right. But you're not safe and you're not right. You're not a safe person to be around because you start acting weird, okay? And you got real, like, you got some aggressive and violent tendencies. You got some aggressive ways of being and thinking about other people. And so you're really not a safe person to be around. You're definitely not a safe person to connect to, okay? You're not helpful and you're not right. And that might be just that's just the bottom line. You're just not right. All right. Antisocial is not all women and never any men. Antisocial is not all men and never any women. We're talking about a way of being, your character, your priorities, the way you live and move through the world. Both men and women can be antisocial. I also will say this. I talked about this in the last episode, the dangers of radical relationship ideologies. Just because it's a shared issue doesn't mean it's equal. And I have been very clear that I see more issues with women, and we're going to talk about some statistics later on in this. I see more disordered problems with women than I do with men. I stand on that. I think that that's true. So it's a shared issue. I don't believe that it's equal. I don't believe that it's an equally shared. It's not a 50-50 split. Let's say that. Let's just put it like that. It's not a 50-50 split, ladies. All right. And that's why, again, like for many reasons, that's why we need men leading the way, because we need men who are in this work and leading the way and become equipped and empowered to take this thing forward in their own individual lives and in their relationships and in their families. Because men, we got a better shot with you. Me and Austin, we have a better shot with men, getting men on board and aligned, really doing the work that's needed to get back out there and improve their individual lives and then improve their relationships and improve their family. We have a better shot with men. Are we clear on that, y'all? I want you to even notice in the comments, I actually think when I posted the reel, sloppy men, you know, the internet's not everything, I'm very aware, but it sometimes gives some very good reflections. Sometimes with some very, very good reflections. And when you look at my reel, sloppy men, and we know there's a lot of men following my page. When you look at my reel, sloppy men, I would say 95% of those comments were very positive. They were like, I used to weigh this much. Now I weigh this much. I needed to get in the gym. I've been in the gym. It helped me with my diabetes. It helped me with my stroke. It helped me with it. And they're like, you're exactly right, Taylor. We need to keep our bodies together. Now, when I post the stuff about the women getting in the gym, first of all, I wouldn't say I think they were equally direct and kind of funny and calling out, like, don't be sloppy, and ladies, why are you drinking all those margaritas? And I should have talked about the lemon pepper wings. I'll save that for another time. But it was a pretty equal reels for men, one for women. The response was very, very different. I'm going to say about 60 to 70%, that's being generous, 60 to 70% of the reels on women having issues, if the women are responding, the women who do react, I would say about 60 to 70% of the women who do react, who engage, who comment, is negative and deflecting. Okay? Some of them outright lying. It's not funny. It's antisocial. Some of y'all outright lying and misrepresenting. Okay. I don't know. I have to say this. This one on my mind. I don't know, on those obesity reels, how did all the women become health scientists and health coaches? It's almost like it was programmed to be like, if someone ever calls you fat, be like, I got bigger bones than other people though. I got bigger muscle mass. Y'all know, I'm so tired of that, y'all. Black women, y'all effing know. I'm not gonna cuss at y'all. I'm not gonna do it. But we know we don't have a bunch of black women bodybuilders out here. When I walk outside, who do y'all think you're fooling? We have eyes. What in the world? Where is this island of black female bodybuilders with big muscle mass and thick bones? Where are y'all at? I know y'all were not in Atlanta because I was there. I know y'all were not in Atlanta because I was there. What are you talking about? Big now listen, y'all, and I'm gonna talk about this next season. Next season, y'all, this is a preview. I'm gonna give you a little preview. Next season is called All Facts. We are going to go over the numbers we are running the numbers, y'all. We are running the numbers. And one episode I'm gonna do is about muscle mass because listen to this, y'all. It is true that black people do tend to have a higher muscle mass, okay? Higher bone density. It's true. But just because you tend to have a higher muscle mass doesn't mean you actually have a higher muscle mass. And some of y'all haven't worked, you have not worked out your entire life or in the last 2 years or in the last 8 months. And you talking about, well, I got a lot of muscle, and you know that's not true. I'm tired of y'all lying. That's what I'm tired of. I'm tired of you lying and misrepresenting yourselves. I'm tired of the lies. I'm tired of that. You heard muscle mass and talking about thick bones, but you have not even you haven't even done a body composition test. You don't even know. You're just like, we got bigger muscle mass. Show me yours though. Pull your data. I want to see the printout. Where is the printout? The printout. I want to see the report that says that you, Jessica, you, Aaron, you, Mary, you, Keisha, I want to see it. You talking about you got big muscle mass? Show me. If it's you, say so and show the work. But I don't like all this. I got big old muscles. Show me the bone density because we can measure that. Show you muscle mass? Okay, I agree. It's a factor. Show me yours. Show me the printout, ma'am. When was the last time you did a body composition test and you verified that it's actually your weight? Your weight is verifiably related to your big old muscle mass and your thick old bones. Show me the report. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's not true because it is true. It's a thing, but I need to see it, Ashley. I need to see it. Bridget, Shaniqua, Keisha, Shonda, y'all know the song. Petey Pablo. Y'all remember that one? That was about when the ratchetry really, really started. That Petey Pablo song was a turn for the worst. Y'all remember that? Petey Pablo. That's about when things started to, that about what, 2001? Yeah. Things started to take a turn when Petey Pablo came out. Drumline, Nick Cannon, goodness, he's a whole mess in and of himself. I got to get back to my notes. Nick Cannon, we should have known. We got Nick Cannon on Drumline. They used to play that every day on TV. Y'all remember that? They used to always play Drumline. And on Drumline, Petey Pablo's ass was magnified. That was about when we started to take a turn, y'all. Petey Pablo and Drumline. What year was that? Let's clock it. Let me see. Then I'm going to get back to my notes, y'all. Seriously, we got to get back to this. I'm saying 2001. What was it? 2002. Sounds about right. Another antisocial value, y'all. Let's get back to it. Revenge, seeking to harm others instead of forgiving or resolving conflicts peacefully. Irresponsibility, ignoring duties or consequences of action. For example, blaming others for personal mistakes. Sir, ma'am, you did that. You talking about it's all kinds of other, it's why is all the things that it could be, how is it never you? You blame your parents, you blame the justice system, you blame the educational system, you blame Trump, you blame Megan the Stallion, the entertainment industry, you blame who else? And we never got, but we never got back to you. Okay, irresponsible, refuse, ignoring duties or consequences of action, blaming others for your personal mistakes. You did this. Lack of empathy, not caring about others' feelings. Okay, not caring about others' feelings. Entitlement, expecting special treatment without earning it. These kinds of values, y'all, lead to negative consequences like broken relationships, conflicts, and an unhealthy environment. All right, we're about to move on to pro-social. Are y'all doing okay so far? I have so much to share with you after pro-social. I want to move through pro-social very quickly because I have a lot to share with you about where antisocial values are grown and nurtured. Okay. All right, thank you. You are ready. Pro-social. Pro-social values are principles and beliefs that encourage positive, helpful, and cooperative behavior towards others. These values promote harmony, kindness, and well-being for individuals, relationships, and communities. Pro-social values include, and thank y'all for I like the yeses. I like yeses. Pro-social values include respect. I believe this is the grand whopper. That's what I said. The grand whopper. Yeah, the big fish of all values. All right, respect. I believe this is the most important piece of our foundation, that it creates a foundation of trust and understanding. If we don't have respect, we don't have a conversation. Okay? If you don't have respect, you really can't be in a productive disagreement. Some of y'all are in disagreements with people you don't even respect. It's why I don't go anywhere. And you end up more pissed off when you're done because there wasn't respect. I believe respect is the big whopper, the grand whopper, the big fish of all values. If we don't have that together, we don't have anything else. Ain't nothing else to talk about until you can get the respect in there. All right. Respect is about treating others with dignity and valuing their perspectives. If you don't have respect, we don't have a healthy relationship. Respect is in how you treat someone, how you talk to someone. It's listening to someone, even if you disagree, without interrupting or insulting them. It's being polite. Please and thank you, damn it. Please and thank you. It's being punctual and valuing others' time. It's maintaining healthy boundaries, taking care of shared spaces, not playing loud music, taking care of shared spaces, y'all. I'm just saying that this next point is for myself. I'm really tired of y'all playing loud music in shared spaces. That comment is just for me. That's just for me. I'm really tired of y'all being in public spaces and you're listening to music without headphones. I want you to stop. It's just disrespectful. It's like you don't consider other people's experience at all. It's all about you and what you want. I really dislike you. If you're somebody that just goes around playing music out your phone, or worse, you hang like a when I lived in Atlanta, of course, this was just rampant. I lived on the Beltline. It's a very incredibly active area. I loved it. It was the best. It was a really, really great place to live. And people will be walking on the Beltline. If you don't know what it is, don't worry about it. It's a big outdoor situation. People will be walking on the Beltline with their, what is it called, a JBL pill, like a pill strapped onto them, playing music as if everybody want to hear what you want to hear. If you're the type that would do that, I feel like I already know several other things about you and I don't like any of them. To be honest, if you're the type of person that does that, I just feel like I don't like that. Pro-social, cooperation, working together for mutual benefit. Cooperation, working together for mutual benefit. We were having a 50-50 conversation a little bit when we were talking about economics on the Last Call for Women Part 2. real quick note. We're going to be talking so much more about this next season because we got to break down some money stuff and some issues with this mindset about not sharing, cooperation, financial literacy, all kinds of stuff. All right. I want to say this: cooperation is working together for mutual benefit. There are a lot of different ways to cooperate with your person. I want to touch on the financial part really quick. Cooperating financially is not always about swiping a card. It's not always about spending money. Most men, at least the ones that I'm very aware of, most men, it's different types of men, y'all. There's only a certain type of man that really is asking a woman for money. There's only a certain type of man that even if he needs it, he needs it. It's only if a man needs it, it's only a certain type of man that's going to ask his woman for money. All right. So a lot of times it's really not about literally swiping a card that somebody's talking about, but it's a mindset. It's an uncooperative mindset that people have an issue with. It's an unawareness of like basic economics that people have, that a lot of men have an issue with. Okay. The low tier argument is who's going to pay for what. That's like something I want you to grow out of that argument. That's not even it's really truly is a very low level, very low vibe conversation talking about who's paying for what. It's more about a mindset and an attitude than how much money you about to put up. Is that true or false, gentlemen? Please verify before I keep going. Please verify. Tell me if I'm wrong and you trying to get somebody to swipe cards for you. All right. Tell me if I'm right. Tell me if I'm wrong. Being cooperative financially or in the economic realm in your relationship is also about, and more often about, being encouraging and supportive. It's not being wasteful or taking advantage. It's not being selfish, only thinking about what you need and have short-term gratification rather than long-term investment. There are so many different ways to be cooperative financially, okay? It's not all about, and it's not often about, literal dollars and cents. It's also about being supportive in skill development and career development. It's taking over some house responsibility so this man can work. So I just wanted to touch on that, y'all. I just wanted to, because we're going to talk more about these issues around like how people are thinking about money and sharing and that kind of thing in relationship. But I just wanted to drop that in there. So a pro-social value is cooperation, working together for mutual benefit. It's not just about money. That's just one aspect, one way to be cooperative. Okay, good question. Another pro-social value: honesty, telling the truth, integrity, being who you say that you are, taking responsibility for where you're falling short. Integrity, y'all. We need to do a lesson on integrity. Integrity, being who you say you are, taking responsibility for where you're falling short. Responsibility is another value, recognizing and upholding duties, being accountable for your actions, how it impacts you and others, being dependable. Another value, gratitude, appreciating and acknowledging kindness for others. Another, fairness, treating people justly and equitably. Altruism, helping others for the sake of helping, no strings attached. Compassion, showing kindness and concern for those in need. Forgiveness, letting go of resentment and offering second chances. I didn't say 12 chances, but a second one, yeah. Okay, yeah. So those are some examples of pro-social values. I would dare say that a lot of people, most people that are having issues in relationships and dating are not dating pro-social people. You're dating people who have antisocial tendencies, either man or woman. They're deceiving, they're manipulating, they're not who they say that they are, they're irresponsible, not dependable. They don't take care of shared spaces, take care of your things or take care of theirs, or they're greedy or aggressive. So I would imagine that the issues you're having in dating and relationships are probably because you're experiencing more of that kind of behavior, and not because someone is too grateful or too forgiving or too responsible or too cooperative. We're going to talk about like where this stuff comes from, the antisocial stuff comes from, in just a moment. Now, there's one more big value that I want to highlight in pro-social values, one that I don't believe we're doing very well, okay? Across the board. This is one I don't believe we are doing very well. This is one that I believe needs some intentional work because it's so important and there's such a deficit, okay? So can someone drop empathy in the chat? Empathy. After we get through this one, y'all, thank you. Empathy. After we get through this one value, y'all, we're going to talk about where antisocial values are grown and nurtured. We're going to talk about the home. I'm going to give you some statistics on marriage, divorce, poverty, incarceration. We're going to talk about the entertainment industry. And then we're basically going to wrap from there, okay? So let's say we got another like 30 minutes. I want to wrap this in 30. Empathy, thank you. We're not doing this one very well, y'all. Empathy is understanding and sharing the feelings of others. In the context of relationships, which is my zone, men and women have become very polarized. And I hear things like from the women's side, men will never get this. Men won't understand. They just won't understand the emotional labor, the mental labor of this relationship. They just won't understand raising these kids. They just won't understand it. I hear and other things. And from the men's side, women just won't get it. They won't understand. You don't know what it's like to be a man. Okay? Of course, no man is going to know exactly what it's like to be a woman. No woman's going to know exactly what it's like to be a man. But when you have that kind of belief, I'm going to call it a limiting belief. When you have this idea that the person you're supposed to be partnering with will never get it, will never understand you, will never appreciate the value that you're bringing. That's a really big block that a lot of people have. We're going to be talking about that a lot next season, y'all. Empathy and that particular belief that this other person just won't get it. Because if that's your belief, right, which is often based on real experiences of not being understood, if that's what you've come to believe is just a truth, you are in the way of really having the healthy relationship that you want, because you've already predetermined that this person just won't get it. And so you stop communicating and you stop trying. You stop trying to share what's going on with you. You even probably, when you do share, you communicate in a way that's really closed, guarded, defensive. Maybe you leave some things out because you've already predetermined that it's not worth it. And that's a really big problem when you close down communication channels. We need to do better at understanding each other's perspectives and feelings in order to foster trust and harmony. On the relational side, y'all, I think you want someone who wants to be with you. And we usually only really want to be with someone when we feel like they understand us. Is that true? I can't tell you how many times I hear from men and women, that they're not feeling understood, and how that is like sucking the life out of them. And people straight up, people want to leave on that alone. You just don't get me. Is that true or not true? You just don't get me. You don't even try to get me. And people will leave on that alone. Ain't nothing crazy got to happen. You just have to fail to understand them. Is that true? Y'all, this is telling us, y'all, we are severely lacking in empathy. And a lot of people, I think, want to be empathetic, but don't know how. That was an issue in my own relationship. Austin literally had to learn how to be empathetic. But he thought he was empathetic. And I'm okay saying it because he'll say it. He thought, this is one of those biases we have, like on a multiple choice test. It's like, are you empathetic? Everybody want to say yes. Okay. Are you selfless? Everybody want to say yes. But are you? He thought he was empathetic. I was like, I know what empathy feel like. I know what empathy feels like. I know what empathy feels like. I know what empathy looks like. I know what empathy feels like. I know this is not empathy. Okay. So sometimes we think, and he's an incredibly good person, the best person ever. And he was not very good at that. Not very good at it. Okay. And so a lot of us, we think that we know what empathy is. We think we know what emotional intelligence is, but we're going to do some training on that. We're going to do some training on that. We're going to get very clear and dispel some myths around what emotional intelligence is, what empathy is, how to do it, how to be it. Because you don't just do empathy. I am empathetic. I don't just do an empathetic thing. I am empathetic. And so we need some help with that, y'all. We do. People need some help with that. So we hear a lot of this, people don't understand, we're severely lacking in empathy. We're like I already got into this a second ago, but during phase 2, we're going to first focus on emotional intelligence. Yeah, see, look, he said he just left from a lack of understanding and empathy. Still hurts. See, it's a big deal. It's a very big deal. And a lot of times, y'all, when that's an issue in a relationship, if one person feels like the other person's not understanding, usually it's both people feeling that at the same time. And then you get further and further into a rut. Both people feel more and more polarized. It becomes more and more of a stalemate. Okay. So that's another issue. This is my bad. I love talking about this stuff. I'm going to try to move on in a second. But that's another issue, y'all. When you're the only one that feels misunderstood, your person is also probably feeling misunderstood, and both people want to feel understood. They want their perspective to be validated, and then we fail to validate the other person. So let me even give you even more context, because I just put Austin out there, right? So when Austin was failing to be empathetic, it also closed me off. I can be empathetic on the drop of a dime. I can make myself empathetic even if I don't want to be. That's how good I am at empathy. I can do it if I don't want to do it. I can do it. I can do it with someone I don't like at all. I can do it. I can do it with somebody I disagree with 100%. I don't think how you think, believe what you believe, or want to do what you do. And I can be more empathetic to you than someone who actually believes the same thing. I can give you empathy whenever I want. Okay? But when Austin was failing to be empathetic, I turned that valve off. That's the truth. I turned that valve off. I could do it, right? I could do it. Now I don't want to do it. Because you don't understand me, you're not feeling me. So even if I could feel you, even though I could give you empathy, now I'm backing up, and now I'm shutting down. Now I'm pissed. Okay, so that happens, and then you get to a place. Ideally, right? We're going to talk about this more in phase 2 and phase 3. We get to a place where even when the other person isn't being empathetic, you still do the right thing. And that's really the only way forward. Someone has to stop the cycle. Someone has to stop the pattern, okay? While the other person's catching up to becoming more empathetic. And sometimes both people need to learn how to be more empathetic. But that's a really common pattern that happens in relationship. That's why we're going to talk about this, because some people live in a world where you want someone to show up a certain way no matter what, as if you don't impact them. And we're going to talk about that, y'all, because honestly, it's not realistic. For women, you want this man to show up and he's leading, he's always problem solving, but you're withholding affection, but you want him to just keep running through walls for you. It's really not realistic. A man gonna get tired or fed up. So does that make sense? See, we started to use language and stuff and paint certain pictures that really aren't realistic. A woman should always be open and receptive to you, but you're not seeing her or valuing how she's coming into the relationship. You're not validating her the way that she needs to be validated by you. But you want her to just show up and I get everybody wants what they want when they want it, but we're going to talk about what it's like to actually be human and not and get out of the internet. You're going to get out of the internet and be like, what's really like, how does this actually work in a dynamic relationship where both people are affecting each other? Okay? I needed to say that because I could push that button like everybody should always do this thing no matter what. It's not realistic. It's not even healthy. We're in a dynamic relationship where what you do affects me, what I do affects you. Now, who you are at your core is always going to try to come through. Okay? That's true. But there's levels of me that you're going to get when we have certain kind of interactions. There's different levels of that man that you're going to get based on the way that you're interacting with him. I also believe, and this is a very nuanced conversation, right? Now, the stronger you are at your core, the easier it is to be that no matter what. Okay? The easier it is to be that no matter what, or do it at a high level, regardless of how the other person's coming. But you have to work to get to that place. That's not an inherent quality that someone has. That takes a lot of practice and intention to be able to do that. I'm going to show up like this regardless of what you're doing. And it's still not going to quite be the peak because of the way that you come in. All right. So we got to be able to have these fluid conversations. And these are kind of conversations that don't fit in a 90-second reel. Hey, Mallory. Oh my gosh. I haven't seen Mallory's name pop up since literally high school. Hey, Mallory. I need a screenshot that. I got to make sure I come on your page and say, hey. Wow. Tell your brother I said hi. That's so crazy. So yeah, this kind of conversation doesn't fit in a 90-second reel. And that's why we need more time with it. So yeah, we're going to focus on emotional intelligence during phase 2, understanding your own perspective and understanding others. This includes getting in touch with how you're feeling. I want to talk about men real quick. A lot of men are feeling things and rationalizing it, but it puts them out of touch with emotions of things like anger, resentment, frustration, sadness, and betrayal that they're feeling in their relationship. Thank you, Carlton. I appreciate that. And thank y'all for the compliment. So men need emotional intelligence. We got to get clear on emotional intelligence is also about getting in touch with your feelings. That's not just for women. That's for men. We need men to be wholly healthy. Wholly healthy. Okay? Not just a great leader who's able to do and execute, but a great leader is emotionally healthy, which means that you're in touch with your emotions. That includes being in touch with your emotions and being able to express them. So because a lot of men especially haven't had the space, to keep it simple, the space to even be able to do that and learn how to do that. And there's all these ideas in society that they shouldn't be doing that. Their emotions are still there, but they're not expressed in a healthy way. And so men can become super shut down or explosive. You explode or implode. Okay? When you don't have a healthy relationship with your feelings. And so we need to be able to for everybody, men and women, to be able to healthfully relate to their emotions. But I really think that there's this particular emphasis for men to even be, for this to even be acknowledged, that it's especially difficult for men to step into that space. When you're not in touch with yourself, you can't be in touch with a woman for a relationship. For a healthy relationship. I'm talking about the kind of relationships that I help to create. All right. Because you can have a relationship, but it's not going, but what I go for is secure relationships where there's trust, vulnerability, safety, secure attachment. So the kind of relationships I'm talking about are of a very particular quality, of the highest quality. Because a lot of people get into relationship. Okay. But a high quality relationship has a different set of standards and criteria. So when a man's not in touch with himself, he can't be in touch with a woman for that type of relationship. Granted, I know this is going to be for the record. When I post that, someone's going to say, women don't know how to handle their feelings. I know that's the case. I know that's the case for plenty of women. Okay. And it's not always the case that women just can't handle their emotions or manage their emotions. Is it a problem for plenty of people? Yes, it is. Is that always the problem? No, it's not. When you're not, so I'm going to talk just real quick to men. When you're not in touch with yourself, you can't be in touch with a woman for a healthy relationship. Her problems are hers that need to be taken care of as well. But I'm just talking about your problem. When you're not in touch with yourself, you can't be in touch with a woman for that high quality relationship. And if you're not interested in that part, the emotional intelligence part, if you're not interested in getting your emotions, getting in touch with your emotions and expressing your emotions, if you're not interested in that, I'm not going to try to make you interested. I can't change your appetite. So you have to want to do that. And we're going to start with that on phase 2, because what I don't want to do is paint a picture that this is not important or that this isn't an issue for men and women, and you don't find that out till the end of next season. We need to go ahead and start with that, because if people aren't willing to do the emotional work, you're not someone that I would qualify for this high quality, for a higher quality relationship. I wouldn't qualify you for that. Does that make sense, y'all? The chat's kind of quiet on this one. I hear a lot, like men are like, men don't have any issues with their emotions, but all you really know how to locate is like angry, sad, happy. But are you able to identify when you're feeling disappointed? Are you able to locate when you're feeling betrayed, or are you just shutting down or exploding? Are you able to locate when you're feeling surprised? I'm surprised by that, by what you did. Or do I just show anger because that's the closest, easiest feeling that I can locate? So that's the one that I express. But really, I need to be able to identify, I'm feeling disappointed because she didn't show up the way that I expected her to. I'm feeling disappointed. I'm feeling betrayed. She decided to do that instead of what I thought that we were doing together. I'm feeling betrayed. And if we can't name the feeling, we can't deal with it in the right way. If we call it anger, but really it's betrayal, we won't be able to resolve it the way it needs to be resolved. Anger and betrayal are different emotions. And if you're feeling disappointed, but all you can talk to me about is anger, I can't get to the fact that you had an expectation that didn't get met. And what was the expectation? How do we communicate about that? And how are you able to vet for that? And how can you manage that feeling of disappointment? That's very different than anger. And where did you first feel disappointed? And it's the same thing that my mother did, or it's the same thing that my father did. And but if I never get to the fact that you were disappointed and all you want to talk to me about is anger, you're missing it. So I'm telling you, there are plenty of men who think that they're good with their emotions because they know that they know when they feel angry, they know when they feel pleased, they know that when they feel pleasure, okay, and they know when they feel hungry. But we also have these other second layer and third layer emotions that give you a deeper understanding first for yourself. And then when you're able to meet yourself at a deeper level, you're also able to relate at a deeper level. You're also able to relate at a deeper level. And that's where those really secure, intimate relationships develop. Okay. So so that's my bag over there. We're not even there right now. Okay. But I wanted to give you a little bit of that. Let's wrap this. And then let's talk about some statistics, y'all. Pro-social values. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, y'all. Space to even and be able to. Let me do this real quick.
Figured it out. Okay, y'all. Figured it out. Okay, y'all. Figured it out. Let's continue. I'll call this part antisocial breeding grounds. We're going to talk about where antisocial behaviors, where I see them coming from, how they start. Antisocial breeding grounds. Thanks for your patience. Quick plug, next season. So next week is the last episode of this season. After that, all episodes are going to be on YouTube only. So if you haven't subscribed on YouTube, please do. Are y'all ready? Where are antisocial values grown and nurtured? We're going to start in the home, okay? We're going to start in the house. A lot of people, especially on the ratchet reel side, it's the entertainment industry. We're going to talk a little bit about the entertainment industry, but guaranteed the house, the home that someone's growing up in has more of an impact than Cardi B. Okay? This stuff starts in the house. And we got a lot of home issues in the Black community, especially. We're going to talk a little about some of those stats. Let's start here. Marriage and divorce. This is from the U.S. Census. U.S. Census, y'all. Okay? Black people have a higher rate of divorce and a lower rate of marriage than everybody else. Black women have an even higher rate of divorce and a lower rate of marriage than Black men. Current status. We're just going to read this, just going to read the percentages, y'all. Just going to read the numbers, y'all. That's it. Now, then we're going to talk a little bit, but right from the US Census, current status. Currently, Black women are married at a rate at 27%. Currently, 27% of Black women are married right now. 34% of Black men are married. In the United States, 48% of people are married. So Black people are doing worse than everybody. Black women, even lower rate than Black men. Okay? Black women, 27%, Black men, 34%, United States, 48%. Never married. Percentage of people never married. Black women, 49%. Black men, 51%. Black people, 50%. United States, 34%. Never married. Black women, 49%. Black men, 51%. Black people, 50%. Never married. United States, 34%. Never married. Divorced. Currently, Black women, 13%. Black men, 10%. Black people, 12%. United States, 10%. We're going to come back to fatherless homes in just a moment and the impact of that. I want to link in poverty. People who are in poverty are much more likely to behave in antisocial ways. Families who are in survival mode, you all have heard of crabs in a barrel mentality. As of 2024, this is from the US Census and the Pew Research Center. As of 2024, the poverty rate for Black Americans stands at 21.3%, significantly higher than the overall United States rate of 12.4%. Thank you. Y'all got that? This 2024 poverty rate, Black Americans, 21.3%, significantly higher than the United States rate, 12.4%. How does poverty impact antisocial behavior? Things like there's like increased exposure to crime and violence when you're living in an impoverished area. People are more likely to do illegal activities to survive, regardless of the legal consequences. They're socially isolated, disconnected from resources. When I talked about obesity or unhealthy Black people, we heard a lot in the comments about people not having access to food. That's real. There's food insecurity when people are in poverty. People who are in poverty are essentially treated like lepers. They're stigmatized, marginalized, dehumanized, which often creates a defiant attitude towards society. It's like, well, if society's not helping me, then F society. And so we see how we can develop antisocial behaviors and values. This next stat is from Statista. Understand, hear this, y'all. This is important. We're going to talk about next season, y'all. It's called Just the Facts. We're going to be talking a lot about these stats and breaking them down even more. I'm just going to put them out there for now. Statista, married Black couples, only 6.5% of married Black couples are below the poverty line. 6.5% of married Black couples are below the poverty line. It's not very different from the 4.6, which is United States married couples. Married couples in the United States, so the whole country, which includes Black people, the whole country, it's 4.6% of married couples are below the poverty line. From all United States couples, when you pull out just the Black couple married couples, 6.5% are below the poverty line. That's pretty close. Families that are headed by single women are 31% below the poverty line. That is insane. That's insane. Married Black couples, 4.6. Single women, 31% below the poverty line. Single families headed by Black women are about about 25.9% of families headed by single Black women are below the poverty line. All right. Is that painting the picture for y'all? Single women, 31%. Black single women, about 25.9%. All right. So above the national rate for single women. They're doing better than, like, when you take everybody and you take Black single women heading the families, they're not as impoverished as the national rate. Does that make sense, y'all? And we're going to come back to talking about the effect of no fathers in the house, because it's all related. It's all related. Poverty, family structure, incarceration. We know that incarceration in the Black community is an issue. Incarceration grows antisocial behavior. Black people are incarcerated more often and for more minor offenses. For example, Black people are 4 times more likely to be incarcerated for a marijuana offense than white people. What's the effect of incarceration on antisocial behavior? Socialized in a hostile environment, normalizing violence, dehumanization, limited access to education, abandonment and isolation, recidivism. So going back to jail after you've been in, recidivism rather than rehabilitation. Black Americans are 14% of the United States population, but 32% of the incarcerated population, 5 times higher than the rate for white Americans. Let's keep painting the picture. White Americans make up 59% of the US population and 31% of the incarcerated population. Let's make it even more specific with the numbers. Black Americans is 901 per 100,000 Black people are incarcerated. For white Americans, that's 181 per 100,000 white people. So there are way more Black people incarcerated than white people, and there are way more white people in the country than Black people. Where do these numbers come from? The American Civil Liberties Union, the Bureau of Justice Statistics, and the Sentencing Project. These are areas where antisocial behaviors can develop, and that's a big effect on the Black community. Let's talk about socially. So we have fathers out of the home. We have those homes more impoverished than other homes, not just financially, but also emotionally and psychologically, right? Impoverished. And poverty isn't just about money, okay? It's also, it's a whole set of things that create an impoverished kind of lifestyle, impoverished mindset, impoverished character. Poverty, a lack of deficiencies, okay? Big gaps between what allows for a sustainable life and where you're actually at, impoverished. Black people aren't just more impoverished financially, they're also impoverished socially and culturally, relationally impoverished. So we have 70% of Black children born to unmarried parents. 80% of Black children are being raised without a father in the home. 80% is a extraordinary statistic. 80%. We have a ton of Black homes with no father figure. And by the way, those percentages are from the US Census. What does that lead to? I'm going to read off a couple things. This is not everything. This isn't an exhaustive list, but this is some things. I specifically want to talk about the impact on boys, because there is a difference. There is a different impact on boys raised without a father in the home than girls. It impacts everybody. It impacts the mother, it impacts the kids, whether it's a boy or girl, but there are different impacts. I'm going to talk about the boys because there's a bigger negative impact on boys when the father is out of the home. And those boys are now adults, or some of those boys have grown into be adults who then relate to the women who also may not have had a father in the home, because 80% of all kids haven't had a father in the home. So these boys turn into men who are relating to the women, and we're going to talk about all these things. We're not going to talk about all of it today, but just to give an overview. So I want to talk specifically about boys because they are the boys who turn into men that then relate to the women. It's also a bigger negative impact on boys than it is on girls. And like I said at the beginning of part one, it's going to be the men. It's going to be the men that turn this thing around for Black people first. Okay, it's going to take the men being equipped and empowered first. And first as an individual to then be healthy in relationship, to then be able to lead your family in a healthy, productive, successful direction. But the men have got to go first. We need the men to be back revitalized, refreshed, ready. But they're also the ones that have had the biggest negative impact from having fatherless homes. How do we know that? Boys that grow up without fathers are more likely to develop oppositional defiant disorder, for example. Now, they're usually not diagnosed with that, although they are diagnosed at a higher rate than other boys. So in other words, we have a lot of boys who develop oppositional defiant disorder, and I'll describe to you what that is in a moment. But you can it's almost intuitive. Hear it: oppositional defiant disorder. Oppositional defiant disorder is for children before they're adults, where they can then be diagnosed with antisocial disorder. The thing is, a lot of these disorders are going undiagnosed. So we have a lot of we already have more boys that are diagnosed with ODD, oppositional defiant disorder, than girls and other boys. White boys, Hispanic boys, they're more diagnosed than other boys. And then we also have more boys that are out there with it that aren't even diagnosed with it and don't get the help for it. Oppositional defiant disorder is basically a precursor. It's a precursor for antisocial disorder. Are y'all following? So when boys don't have fathers in the home, they are more likely to develop antisocial traits. They have increased emotional and behavioral stress that we don't see in girls. It's not that it doesn't affect girls, but we see a bigger impact on the boys. There's a lack of a male role model to model behavior such as respect for authority, emotional regulation, and conflict resolution. There's increased emotional and behavioral stress, feelings of rejection and abandonment. Again, this is not that girls don't have this, it's that it affects boys differently. The disrupted attachment between the boy and father can lead to defiance, aggression, difficulty trusting others. Boys in particular struggle with emotional regulation and authority relationships when they don't have the father-child bond. We don't see that same connection with girls who didn't have a father. We don't see the same effect. There's a lack of discipline in the home. These boys can have internalized negative stereotypes about masculinity, absent fathers, broken families that affects their self-concept. It can lead to attention-seeking behavior. So look how all of this works together. Boys who are supposed to be leading, boys who are supposed to, in a pro-social format, boys are supposed to develop into men who are leading themselves and their families are essentially set up for failure from the start. Ill-equipped to navigate the world, they are without guidance, protection, leadership, vital skill sets to manage themselves and lead others. These are men who, so we're talking about 80% of kids grow up without fathers. These are men who enter into relationships with women without a clear understanding of how to effectively steward that relationship, creating more chaos and more kids and more weight they are unable to hold together. Women who were girls without fathers can tend to not respect men or know how to work with them. Don't know what a man, how to be with men, or what a healthy man and woman working together looks like. Essentially, a man in their adult life is like a foreign object. You know, when like in your body, when your body experiences a foreign object, a foreign entity, a foreign thing come into it, you are set up to attack it because it's not supposed to be there. And we kind of have the same effect with girls who grow up without fathers, who turn into women interacting with men. You're a foreign object and you can attack it. She doesn't know how to integrate him into the body. Women who were girls who grew up without fathers and don't know how to integrate men into their life or don't respect men or how to work with men. They're also interacting with a lot of fatherless men. See, we often, again, I touched on this earlier, right? We lack a lot of empathy. Not everyone. I don't like when people say everyone for this stuff. Oftentimes, people are so concerned about their own perspective. You're not thinking about what that other person experienced growing up. You're not thinking about that other person's life experience and their struggle. You're just upset that you're not getting treated the way you want to be treated. So, because we have women who are interacting and dating in relationships with a lot of fatherless men. 80% of Black children are growing up without a father in the home. So we have a lot of women. So we have a lot of men that grew up without fathers, and we have a lot of women interacting with a lot of men who grew up without fathers. I see this in my practice often with men that I work with, men who grew up without fathers, and they don't elicit, they're like unable to elicit the type of respect they need and want from a woman because they don't care, because they're missing a big component. Let's keep it simple, a big component of masculinity. They're missing the male role model. They're missing, developmentally, they're delayed in their manhood, delayed in womanhood. We're seeing a lot of people who are chronologically adults that do not behave like adults, that do not behave like responsible adults, emotionally mature adults. So we have a lot of fatherless adults who are entering into like relationships with other adults, but they're children, like mentally and emotionally delayed. So as far as men go, I see this a lot in my practice. They don't, not every man, but this is a common issue for men without fathers. They don't elicit the type of respect they need and want from women. They have an embodied masculinity. They're a man without the embodied traits or qualities of the more like ideal or even stereotypical man. This is a side note. We got a lot of this, and when I talk about radical red pill, we got a lot of people who get really into those ideologies, like when you get deep into red pill ideology to the point of like radical stuff, who really are like, we gotta strip women of all their rights, because the only way to get women to respect me is to take her choice away. The only way to get women to submit to me
is to take her opportunities away. And I understand that's one way to get what it is that you want. And I also understand why that's why plenty of guys like want to be in different countries where women are like brought up differently and don't have the same type of freedoms, because it does elicit a submission to a man that American women are not forced to do. So for men who would prefer for women not to have the choice to submit to him, but rather want women to be forced to submit to them, are not the type of men that are welcome on this mission. Those types of men are not welcome on this page. Now, y'all gonna come anyway, but I'm not for you. Okay. I'm also not for women who have all the choice and all the freedom and don't want to submit to a man. I'm not for those women either. Understand me fully. We are in this society where there is a lot of freedom and a lot of choice in women. Even with that choice, there's order. And if that's not what you want to, and if you can't get with some kind of order, okay, if you can't get with some kind of order, then you're too fluid. And that's okay. You just don't fit this format. For men who want the submission and want the leadership, but don't want women to have the choice to do it, they want women to be essentially forced or scared into doing it. I'm not for you either. You're too rigid. So let's come back to this. Men who are unable to embody their like masculine energy, or like that, they don't know how to create like order, structure, how to stay grounded, emotionally regulated, how to lead, which are a whole different pillars of leadership, don't know how to lead, are often not able in this country to elicit the respect that they really need and want from a woman. And they often don't have those skill sets or those qualities because there wasn't a man, the father, to help to model that. And the father doesn't have to be perfect, but even just a model, just a person to even be able for that boy to be able to see himself in and learn from. Does this make sense, y'all? There's no full substitute for a healthy, loving father or a healthy, loving mother. And a lot of us, we want to, make it negotiable. Well, I didn't need a father, or I didn't need a mother. I'm good. I feel, let me slow down on that one. It's kind of sad to even just like hear it. It's kind of sad, to even think so little of your father. I think that's really sad. I get it. And people want to rationalize it, and you want to make it seem like, it wasn't that bad for me. I think it's sad that to think so little of your father, your actual biological father, to think that you could sub somebody in for him. I think that's really sad. And I understand it. I do think I have a pretty good grasp on why people do that. But I also think that's very, very sad. So, this has all created a big clusterfuck. And we get into these conversations, y'all, and it's like, well, and then we start talking about, well, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Was it the women who did this or the men who did that? Was it the government who did this? And honestly, we do just need to solve the problem. We have one more episode left. This season has been about laying the foundation, okay? Because we need reference points as we go forward. So I'm able to say like, hey, go look at this episode or go watch this video. We need reference points. For that, we need to know what it is that we're talking about before we just start trying to hammer away. We need to understand what we're doing and what we're looking at here. My approach isn't to go through all of the whys things are happening. Was it this? Was it that? Was it that? I do think it's it's very helpful for me to say it and acknowledge it. I do need to acknowledge things like incarceration, like poverty, like fatherless homes. I need to acknowledge a bunch of stuff. But we can't stay there.
Because again, we get into the conversation of which came first, the chicken or the egg, what had more of an impact. We were doing this for one season, and then we have to just go forward, okay? We're not going to keep talking about all the theories on why things happened, because it's a never-ending rabbit hole, y'all, and you go in circles. Let's wrap this up. Let's take this a little up before we go. Of course, we can refer to the entertainment industry, y'all. The entertainment industry has impacted people's antisocial behaviors, although all the deflections to the entertainment industry are, we can't, it's not Cardi B, it's not Glorilla's fault. It's not Glorilla's fault that the Black community is in this kind of position. It's not Sexy Red's fault. Now, they're terrible representations, okay? But it's not their fault that all the kids are acting up. Okay, this is home stuff. We got to get back to just home training stuff, y'all. All right, it's not the CEO of Capitol Records that's doing this. All right, now are they part of the issue? Sure, but teach a child the way he should go, and when he is older, he will not depart from it. Not a whole lot of teaching going on in the house, so we gotta fix this. But I just want to give y'all a couple of lyrics, and then we're going to go a couple of lyrics from the entertainment industry that really highlight some of our problems. Megan Thee Stallion at the DNC performed the song Savage. The presidential nominee had Megan Thee Stallion singing Savage at the DNC when she was trying to get elected for president of the United States. So we're lucky she didn't perform WAP. You're right. Honestly, you're right. It could have been worse. It could have been even worse. Savage. By Megan Thee Stallion, captain of the Ratchets. Here's the chorus. I'm a savage, classy, bougie, ratchet, sassy, moody, nasty, acting stupid. What's happening? What's happening? I'm gonna read it again. I'm a savage, classy, bougie, ratchet, sassy, moody, nasty, acting stupid. What's happening? What's happening? That's the end of I rest my case. I rest my case, Your Honor. We're done here. That's enough. No commentary. No commentary. It speaks for itself. Y'all, thanks for listening. Next week is the last episode of the season. Then we're off for a month. I hope y'all have a great Saturday. I will see you soon. Bye.